he feels like he should get to see her because he has paid child support, but she doesn't know him and she thinks somebody else
No,
is her dad. She
hold
calls
on.
somebody else.
The record of this matter is before the court on the plaintiff's objection to a referee recommend order referring attorney time to the front of the court for formal investigation recommendation. This hearing is being conducted via Zoom. Is Jalen Witherspoon present in audio? Mr. Witherspoon has not appeared. And Ms. Bladen, you did mail a copy of this objection and notice of hearing to Mr. Witherspoon at the Prairie Circle address in Carlton. Is that correct?
Yeah, I actually have a video. The courthouse gave me an address, and I have a video of my friend putting the paper in his door in an envelope because they told me I'd have to pay a fee to get it notarized to prove it, and I didn't have the money to do that. So
well,
I
you signed this. You certified that you mailed it, but you did not mail it.
Well, when I asked them about mailing it at the courthouse when they had me sign it, they told me that I could just take a video of me putting it, like taking it to his house, because I have no way, this has happened to me before where I didn't have no way to show that I did mail it and my hearing was canceled. So she told me if I just took a video of it, that would be okay.
Well, it's highly unusual. So what address, what home? So you were present and you took a video of your friend giving it to Mr. Witherspoon?
We put it in his door, like we slipped it in his door. I have a video of the paper and then I folded it up, put it in an envelope, took a video of the house with the address, and then put it in his door.
Okay, and for the record, what was the address of the home?
It's 306 Prairie Circle, Carlton, Michigan.
Ms. Brower, is that the address that your office has on file for Mr. Witherspoon?
Yes, Your Honor.
And I did let her know too that on the paperwork, I found Jalen's phone number and I've texted him twice while waiting, so.
Any response?
No, he hasn't texted me back.
You understand this recommendation, it was just simply for the front of the court to make a recommendation relative to parenting time.
Yes, but I don't feel like it's even necessary because my daughter has no idea who he is. He's never been in her life. And I read the paper that he turned into the court to even open up this case. And all he has to say is that he feels like he should get to see her because he has paid child support. But I actually went to the courthouse and got all my paperwork printed to show that Jalen does not pay his child support. And if that's the only reason he wants to see my
child support's another issue. We're not talking about child support, we're talking about parenting time. And your daughter has a right to parenting time with her father.
Yeah, but she doesn't know him and she thinks somebody else is her dad. She calls somebody else.
I understand he was incarcerated at the time that the original order was entered, but he has a right. What they do is we'll do supervised parenting time. We started slowly so that your daughter can get to know her father. Ms. Brower, I understand your recommendation is to adopt to rescind the recommendation, but all we're doing is seems to the court to be the best interest of the child to move things forward. There's no harm in having in front of the court to conduct investigation. Maybe Mr. Witherspoon will not participate and there will not be an issue. What are your thoughts, Ms. Brower?
We can refer it to front of the court. If he wasn't present today, so I figured he may not appear or participate in the investigation, and it would waste front of the court's time.
I do have other court paperwork to show that Jalen has not came to other court hearings that we've had. We actually had a court hearing about parenting time and about him getting his rights back, and he never showed up.
Well, and again, the court's not real impressed with your level of service. You signed a document indicating you mailed it to him, Ms. Bladen, and you did not mail it to him, so your proof of service is questionable, but the court's going to adopt the recommendation. So you'll both be sent to be contacted by the front of the court regarding a recommendation. You can state your opinion that your daughter or child does not know her dad, and we'll see whether Mr. Witherspoon responds. If he doesn't respond, then it's not an issue. But your child has a right to have a relationship with her father, even though it would be perhaps supervised parenting time initially to develop that relationship. It's not going to happen overnight. He's got to crawl before he starts walking. So we're just delaying the inevitable.
But Jalen was in prison for a year. In the 3 years before that, he did nothing for my kid. He's never been around her. He does not care.
Okay. Well, obviously he filed a motion for parenting time. So obviously there must be some interest in his part. So we'll refer to the front of the court, have him do a formal investigation recommendation. It's not an order. It's got to come before the court. And when you get the recommendation, you can file an objection. The recommendation will come back before the court before there's any parenting time. So we're just taking one small step forward, Ms. Bladen. So again, at this point in time, Ms. Brown, the court will adopt the recommended order. Recommendation simply to refer the matter to the front of the court for formal investigation recommendation. We'll see whether or not Mr. Witherspoon responds and cooperates. If not, then so be it. So we'll take one small step at a time.
And then if he does though, then he just gets to see a kid that, what about his other two kids? Like, that's what I'm saying. I think this is so unnecessary that it's just my kid when he has two other kids he hasn't seen in 7 years. This isn't anything new.
This court's not concerned about those two other children. The court's only concerned about the child born to you and Mr. Witherspoon. So we'll see whether he responds. If he doesn't, then it's a moot point.
And then if he does respond, then what?
The front of the court will communicate, will contact him for some input on parenting time. If he does not respond, then the recommendation is that his parenting time be suspended. Continue to be suspended. So we'll take one step at a time. So Mrs. Brown, if you can modify the recommendation, you'll be mailed a copy of this recommendation. All the court's doing this morning, Ms. Flade is adopting the recommendation that the form of the court conducted a parenting time. Just a parenting time recommendation, not custody, just simply parenting time.
So if he responds to it, then he just gets parenting time? He just gets to see my daughter?
Nope, he's got to come back before the court. And you'll have a chance to express your input at that time. You can remind the court he has nothing to do with his two other children. He doesn't know this child. He's had opportunities to do so. He's not, for whatever reason, I know he's been in prison. I don't know how many years he's been in prison. This is a 4-year-old child, correct?
She's going to be 5.
Okay, so we'll see what we'll see whether he responds. If he responds, then you come back before the court and express your concern. The court would most likely, if the court's going to permit parenting time, if he responds, it'd be supervised by Family Council Child Services. So he'd perhaps be able to see the child once every 2 weeks or something to develop that relationship. So take one small step at a time, Ms. Blade.
But I just feel like if that's something that he wanted, he would have done it 4 years ago. He would have done it 3 years ago. He would have done it 2 years ago. He would have done it when he got out of prison. He's been out of prison for almost over a year.
Yeah, maybe he's gotten his act together. I don't know, Ms. Vileda, I don't know why he delayed, but he did file a motion for parenting time. So obviously he seems to have an interest in develop a relationship with the child. And he references that in his motion. So we'll see whether he responds to the next step. The court understands your position. That will conclude this hearing. You can zoom out, and I'm sure we'll see you again soon.
He told me that if my children called another man dad, and and he said he has nothing else to live for, that he had someone on the outside he can come after me.